I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. A federal judge in Washington, D.C., Judge Amit Mehta, just issued a minute order. It's what's called an order to show cause directed at an insurrectionist who was just convicted during a trial that's known as a stipulated facts trial. I'll explain what that means in a second, but in this minute order, Judge Amit Mehta asks why the court shouldn't vacate the conviction. In other words, why the court should not set aside this conviction and have a trial against this insurrectionist on more significant charges that will put this insurrectionist in jail for a substantially longer period of time, because the judge, Amit Mehta, has just learned that this insurrectionist by the name of Thomas B. Adams Jr. had been speaking to the press and basically told the press the exact opposite of the facts that the insurrectionist stipulated to under penalty of perjury in this stipulated facts trial. Indeed, there is an article that this insurrectionist gave to the State Journal-Register, his local newspaper, where he is quoted as saying, and this is the headline, quote, "I wouldn't change anything I did. Springfield man convicted in breach of U.S. Capitol says." So, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, or you win more jail time. And so Judge Amit Mehta issued a minute order. Let me read to you what the minute order says. It says, "Minute order as to Thomas B. Adams Jr. The parties," in this case the parties are the Department of Justice and the insurrectionist Thomas B. Adams, "shall show cause by February 10th, 2023, so next week, why the court should not vacate defendant's convictions of guilt in light of his post-stipulated trial statements reflected in the attached news articles, quote, 'I wouldn't change anything I did. Springfield man convicted in breach of U.S. Capitol,' which ran in the State Journal-Register on February 1, 2023. See attached article, and it's the article that we just pulled up there for a moment. So you may be wondering right now, well, wouldn't vacating the conviction, setting aside, wouldn't that be a good thing for this insurrectionist? No. Because in the stipulated facts, it's almost like a plea agreement. In the stipulated trial, the insurrectionist agrees to a certain set of facts and reflects a certain level of guilt, a certain level of remorse, so that they would be convicted on certain felony counts, but not the more significant felony counts that could put them in jail for a significant longer time. Or, in exchange for going through with this stipulated trial, the government may basically say, look, for saving us the resources, we'll agree to a lighter sentence. And then so there's a stipulated set of facts that the government, the Department of Justice, agrees to, and the criminal defendant, in this case the insurrectionist, agrees to, and the judge makes a ruling. And earlier in the week, Judge Amit Mehta convicted Thomas Adams, before this article went out, convicted Adams on felony counts for trespassing in the Capitol, as well as a misdemeanor count. Adams was one of the individuals who had the Trump flags on the Senate floor. It was photographed there. You know, one of the things too with Adams, and it's kind of like this is the second time he's gone to the press. They love the press, these insurrectionists. They're wannabe celebrities. They want all of this attention. They are attention hounds, just begging for attention, because the way that Adams was even identified in the first place by the Department of Justice is because he gave an interview to Insider bragging about being an insurrectionist. And so here again, in this other article for the local newspaper, he brags about the insurrection. He brags about his role in the insurrection. He says he would do it again. He said he had no intent to go about doing anything. This is a quote of what he said. "I wouldn't change anything I did. I didn't do anything. I still to this day, even though I had to admit guilt in the stipulation, I don't feel like I did what the charge is. I did go there. I was in the building. I didn't refuse to leave because no one ever told me to specifically get out. I was never asked to get out until a group of officers came on the Senate floor and told everybody in there it was time to go. We all lined up and walked out." I mean, can you believe how pathetic these MAGA Republican insurrectionists are? It's like, can you imagine you robbed a bank and the police don't arrive, and so you're like, well, no one ever told me I couldn't rob that bank. No one ever said I should get out of the bank. That's basically the excuse that he is making. But as I said, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Adams faces a potential 20-year sentence in prison. He likely would have got a lighter sentence based on the stipulated facts. And now you see Judge Amit Mehta issuing that minute order saying, no. Okay, we'll do a real trial now, okay? We'll see how that goes for you. And by the way, I was supposed to sentence you in June. You were probably going to get a lighter sentence for stipulating to the guilt. Let's see what happens now. Come into my courtroom. And you know what? These federal judges are getting increasingly fed up with these insurrectionists and their tactics within criminal court. I know we said these judges should have been fed up from the outset, and I think there were a lot of them that were. But what these federal judges are seeing is this pattern. And it's a pattern that we see in MAGA of gaslighting. They are liars and they are cowards, and they say anything. Words to them, like their cult leader Donald Trump, words are ways to just manipulate situations. Words, they're not people of their words. It's the exact opposite. So these insurrectionists will show up to court. I'll give you two examples just for instance. They'll show up. They'll say, "Judge, I'm so sorry for the violent attack. I will never do it again. I've learned my lesson, Judge. I feel horrible. It was a violent attack." They'll say all of the right things. And then, as soon as they get a lighter sentence for their fake crocodile tears in the courtroom, what do? They go on Fox and they'll renounce what they just said after their sentence. And at that point, after the sentencing, there's little a judge can do. Here, in the example I'm giving with Adams, this insurrectionist, sentencing wasn't until June. So the judge said, okay, you're going out there and saying that now? I haven't sentenced you yet. I'm going to vacate this. We'll do a real trial and we'll see what the outcome is. And then I'll sentence you to 20 years or close to it. So, for example, you had Brandon Straka. For example, Brandon Straka was the individual who managed to have one of the early insurrectionist cases. He pled guilty. He managed to avoid prison time by admitting to his guilt and actually cooperating with the FBI to help identify other insurrectionists. And then Straka was seen at CPAC, which stands for Conservative Political Action Committee, but is far from conservative. They are MAGA extremist, I think essentially a terrorist organization at this point. And Straka was the one in that cosplay jail cell booth where the MAGA Republican members of Congress, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, would go to the fake jail cell, and Straka was wearing a prison outfit, and he'd be sitting in a chair, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene would bend on her knees and kiss his hand and hug him and call him a political prisoner, and other MAGA Republican leaders would do that to him. Just some of the weirdest thing. It was the same CPAC where they had the sign that says, "We are all domestic terrorists." That's actually what it said at the CPAC conference where all of the Republican leaders spoke. But Straka said, "I did it. I'm so guilty." Then he did that at CPAC. Another example is Derek Evans, who's actually a lawmaker in Virginia, also an insurrectionist. That seems to be the pattern. Insurrectionists on the Republican side are the lawmakers too. The Republican leadership are insurrectionists, and Derek Evans, guilty, went in front of the court, apologized for being an insurrectionist. I'm so sorry, Judge. I'll never do this again. I feel horrible. I've shamed my family. And then what Evans do? Went on TV right after and basically said, I'm wrongfully persecuted. This is deep state, whatever the MAGA say. And so the federal judges are just like, okay, no, we're not doing that no more. We're going to have significantly higher prison sentences now, which I've always been saying from the outset, that these prison sentences are just too light. When I hear 5 years, 7 years, I think that these insurrectionists should have a minimum of 20 years. That should be the minimum, not the statutory maximum. There needs to be new laws to address this. I mean, how do you go engage in a violent insurrection? I mean, look, there are some areas where I will definitely blame Merrick Garland, but the maximum that exists in the law under the sentencing guidelines, the Department of Justice is asking for the max. And in many cases, the judges are giving at the high end of the sentencing. Just the laws are protective of these types of insurrectionists who should be better classified as Al-Qaeda. They should be classified as terrorists like that and go to jail for a minimum of 20 years. And you may be also remembering the name Judge Amit Mehta. Go back and watch the last video I did about Judge Amit Mehta, who did this incredible takedown in another minute order against Oath Keepers who are set to go to trial. There's been a few Oath Keeper trials so far where they've been convicted of seditious conspiracy. There's another Oath Keeper trial set, and the Oath Keepers basically whined that they only had one table to sit at for all of the defendants, and it made them look like junior varsity and gave a phone booth appearance and helped or inhibited their ability to freely roam around the courtroom. And so Judge Mehta issued a scathing order saying, okay, we will give you one more table, but I do not believe in the history of the United States there is precedent that your ability to roam the court as an oath keeper impacts your due process rights. Judge Amit Mehta is done with this crap. Done with this crap. He's been a very strong judge. You know, if you watch this network, you know I like Judge Amit Mehta a lot. He's a real law and order judge. All right, hit subscribe right now. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your support. So please hit subscribe. Let's get to that 1 million by April. It's free to subscribe. Check us out as well at Patreon. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch. That's patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Check it out. And while you're at it too, check out my new show on Hulu. It's called Killing County, executive produced with Colin Kaepernick on Hulu right now. It's about Bakersfield. Just so happens to be Kevin McCarthy's congressional district as well. Let me know what you think about it. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
The best part of waking up? MAGA tears in my cup. Check out the new MAGA tears mug available now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com. It's 100% union made right here in the USA. I know I'm not tired of winning yet. How about you? Get yours today.